You ever wonder what it actually costs to get professional creative work done for your brand? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain. We're looking at some real numbers from a full-service creative agency to figure out what you can, really expect to invest. So let's talk about the biggest hurdle when it comes to creative work. For a lot of people, it really feels like you're just completely lost in a maze.
Does that sound familiar? I mean, you've got this awesome vision in your head, right? But suddenly, you're not just a business owner, you're a project manager, juggling a whole team of different specialists just to bring it all to life. It can get overwhelming, fast.
And that to-do list, man, it just keeps getting longer, doesn't it? You need a photographer? Okay, check. Then you need a video editor. Oh, and a graphic designer for the logo. Then you got to find a web developer, a social media manager, and on and on. And here's the thing, each one of those is a whole separate search, a new contract, and another person you have to manage.
Okay, so this is where the whole idea of a one-stop creative shop comes into play. Instead of trying to navigate that crazy maze of freelancers all by yourself, there's a much more streamlined path.
So for this explainer, we're going to look at a real-world example. Businessman TV LLC. They basically offer a way out of that maze we were talking about. They position themselves as that single solution for all those creative needs. Everything. All under one roof.
And here's the key difference, right? A full-service agency isn't just some random collection of freelancers you've cobbled together. It's a single cohesive team. And what that means for you is that they can handle literally everything, from your logo to your ad strategy, and make sure your brand's message is perfectly consistent everywhere it shows.
So what does full service actually mean? What's in the toolkit? Let's break down the main services they offer.
Okay, check this out. What's so cool here is how this really maps out the entire journey of building a brand. See, it all starts with your brand identity. That's your foundation, right? Your logos, your graphics. Then you move into content creation, which is all about telling your story with awesome photos and videos. After that, they build out your digital presence to make sure people actually see that story online with websites and social ads. And they even handle talent sourcing, finding the perfect faces for your campaigns. It's not just a list of services, it's a complete ecosystem.
And that, of course, brings us to the big question, the one everyone's waiting for. What does this kind of all-in-one service actually cost? All right, let's get into the numbers. Okay, but before we jump into the specific numbers, there's a really important heads up from our source. The prices we're about to look at, think of them as starting points, just a baseline. The final cost is always going to depend on how complex your project is, how long it takes, and exactly what you need. All right, first up, freelance photography. This is a foundational need for, well, pretty much any business out there, right? You need high-quality photos for your products, your team, your events, you name it. So the starting rate here is $200 per hour. That gives you a really solid baseline to work with when you're trying to budget for a professional photo shoot.
Okay, now let's talk about video. And video is just absolutely crucial in today's market. So how does the investment change when we move from photos to video?
Well, the starting rate for videography and editing jumps up to $500 an hour. And that really just reflects all the added complexity, right? The extra equipment, the specialized skills it takes to create compelling video, from the actual shooting all the way through post-production.
Next up, let's look at the visual heart of your brand, your graphics and your logo. I mean, this is the stuff people will recognize you by instantly.
So here, it's a little different. We see a price range instead of a straight hourly rate. For around $300, you're looking at simpler designs, maybe some basic logo concepts. But as you move up toward that $1,000 mark, now you're investing in much more complex designs and full-on comprehensive brand packages. It's a perfect example of how pricing scales with creative depth.
All right, let's talk about your digital storefront. Because let's be honest, your website is often the very first impression a customer ever has of your business.
So the starting investment for a basic but still professional website is $1,500. Think of this as your foundation for an online presence. And of course, you can always add more advanced features and cool functionalities, but that'll come with a higher investment.
Okay, so you've got all this great content, you've got a beautiful website, but how do you get people to actually see it? Well, that's where advertising and social media services come in. For a starting investment of $1,000 a month, you can get a package that covers the whole shebang: strategy, creating the ads, targeting the right audience, and tracking the analytics. This isn't just posting stuff online. This is about actively growing your audience and actually driving results.
And just a quick note, for those really specialized services like casting calls or artist management, finding the perfect actor for a commercial or managing a musician's career, the pricing is totally custom. Those kinds of projects are so unique, they just require a tailored quote.
So after looking at all those individual prices, you might be thinking, okay, what's the real advantage here? Why not just hire different freelancers for each of these tasks? That's a fair question. Let's look at the big picture.
This right here, this slide really gets to the heart of it all. See, the real value isn't just a laundry list of services, it's about how they all work together. You get a cohesive vision, a consistent brand, where your logo, your website, and your ads are all telling the exact same story. You get incredible efficiency because you only have one point of contact to manage. But I think the most important thing is this. You get a team that's thinking strategically, making sure every single creative piece is designed to help you hit your actual business goals.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. In a world that is absolutely overflowing with freelance talent, is the real key to unlocking your brand's full potential not just hiring creatives, but hiring a single, unified creative partner? Something to think about. Thanks for joining me.